Okay. I need to put this on. Comments. Let's see.
Getting some water.
Yeah. Okay. I got a notification, so that looks good. I should. I should put my information there. Discord, we are live. And goodness, what are you rattling around in there?
Sorry, I straightening up my kitchen.
It sounds like you're doing it into the microphone. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, really? I have my headphones on.
Okay, so I wanted to kind of try to give people a minute or so to get in before we jump in. So maybe so something really interesting on a completely another topic. Lori told me this morning that she went to order, what did she say? She was going to order paper towels, Kleenexes, and baby wipes from Sam's because they're out of stock. And she's like, everywhere in the area is out of stock. So she ordered it, and they're not even going to be here till Wednesday. I almost kind of flipped out a little bit because I was like, last night I grabbed the last roll of paper towels out of the closet, and I thought, man, now we got to find some place that has paper towels. And then my husband told me this morning that no, we have 7 more rolls. He just didn't put them in the closet. So I'm like, okay, that's good.
We have a whole case, but don't let it get around. I don't want anybody rushing my house.
I'm gonna come there with a gun. I'm gonna take some of your toilet paper towels.
I stopped last night and talked to this girl, and she said I was at my gym and stuff, and people are stealing the toilet paper from the gym.
Oh my gosh! See, that's one of the things that I was a little concerned about in our building. Like, are we going to run out of paper towels and toilet paper, and do they have enough stock, to get us through? Because I don't know, how much they overstock or not.
I wouldn't steal that crap. It's so cheap.
I'll tell you what, if you're desperate, you will, because trust me, because at Quick Trip, when I worked there, which, has been ages ago, but they would hide their phone books. And I asked them, I'm like, why are you hiding the phone? I mean, honestly, why would people be stealing the phone books that much? Of course, we don't have phone books now, but back then we did. And they said because people will steal it for toilet paper, to use it for toilet paper because they can't afford toilet paper.
So if you ever watch Cheapskates, you'll know how to clean your butt without any toilet paper. Cheapskates, you ever watch that show?
No, but I did see somebody post that if it got that bad, I'd just jump in the shower after I go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's real simple. Now would be a good time to have a bidet.
I don't think so.
Italy.
I don't think.
Italy has them.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I think that's a whole other mess of things to clean up. Okay, so hopefully people will start getting their notifications. We're going to start with this one. This isn't a huge update, but we did cover it last week after there was a new article, and we have yet another new article from the 12th about this. Evidently, there is a wrongful death lawsuit, I am guessing, against Nathaniel Hendren. And his claim is that Katlyn knew the risk in Russian roulette style game that killed her, and so he doesn't owe any damages. So St. Louis, KMOV.com, Nathaniel Hendren said Katlyn Alix knew the risk in a Russian roulette style game that killed her, and he doesn't owe her family any damages in wrongful death suit. The statement was part of Hendren's response to the lawsuit filed against him by Alix's mother. Hendren, the former St. Louis police officer, pled guilty to killing Alix last month. He alleges that Alix voluntarily engaged in this activity and assumed the risk of bodily injury or death. Hendren was on duty with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department when he and his partner met with Alix at his apartment the night of January 23rd, 2019. The pair took turns pointing a gun with one bullet in it at each other and pulling the trigger. They went back and forth until Hendren shot Alix in the chest. She died in the early morning hours of January 24th. In the lawsuit response, Hendren says Alix texted him that night that she was headed to his apartment. She sent him a text saying, "Hi, I'm happy, let's hang out." Later that night, Hendren said he got another text from Alix saying, "Come see me." Once he and his partner, Patrick Riordan, got to the apartment, Hendren admitted to using his personal revolver, but said Alix was the first one to pull out an off-duty gun. After shooting Alix in the chest, Hendren said he performed CPR on her and that he and Riordan drove her to SLU Hospital. Hendren denies the allegation that he had a complicated psychiatric history or substance abuse problem. The lawsuit also accused Hendren of making previous girlfriends engage in sexual activity with guns. In his response, he also denied those allegations. He further denied that he had suicidal thoughts. The lawsuit states that Alix had been married for 3 months and was unhappy. Her mother said Alix planned to divorce her husband and was having an affair with Hendren. In Hendren's response, he admits to the romantic relationship, saying that Alix planned to move into his apartment at the time of the shooting. Hendren was accused of being drunk that night. He defends himself, saying he drank before his shift, but was in compliance with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's policy of pre-duty alcohol consumption. He also admitted to taking sips of alcohol while on duty, but denies that he used drugs. On February 29th, Hendren entered a guilty plea to involuntary manslaughter and armed criminal action, which is what we covered last week. In the plea deal, Hendren was sentenced to 7 years and must serve a minimum of 3 years before he is eligible for parole.
Mm-hmm.
So I have mixed emotions about this. I think that obviously we know that both of them should have known better than to be playing Russian roulette with a gun. However, he is still the one that pulled the trigger against her and shot and killed her. So I do think that falls under the wrongful death category. I don't know that, maybe it should be an untowardly large amount of money, but I do think that it would fall under that category.
You want to know my thoughts?
Yeah, of course I do.
And this will shock you for a change, right?
Okay. I'm ready, but let me hold myself here so I don't fall over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they had played that game many, many times, and she knew the risks, and it was an accident. Case closed. I mean, if it had been the other way around, it could happen the other way around, and she could have been the one to kill him.
And I think in the same token, she would have been responsible for a wrongful death suit.
Right. Well, they were both adults,
right?
And they knew exactly what they were doing. See, she knew exactly what she was doing. She shouldn't have been playing that stupid game.
Except for there's also the possibility that that's not true, that he's lying. I mean, the only reason why this is the story we're going with is because he's the only one alive, and that's what he says, But
were they having an affair?
That's possible.
some people get their jollies out of risque behavior. It could be whether
I
sex,
understand that. I
whether
understand that.
so.
My concern is she's not here to tell us her side. So there's nothing here to kind of refute anything that he says, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they
Because
find somebody
they
else.
did kind of hush this after the first burst of news came out, remember? Like it went totally
Mm-hmm.
quiet for a really long time. And we assumed that that was because it involved police officers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they did some sort of internal investigation, but I'm still not completely sure that his story is 100% the truth. Um,
Yeah.
because
Nope,
I mean,
they'll reveal the
I
truth.
have to question. Okay, if you, but let's think about this. If you know that if you keep shooting a gun, even in Russian roulette, right? So you have let's say you have a six shooter, right? Okay, so there's six holes for a bullet, right? You put one bullet in. So 5
Mm-hmm.
times it's going to click and nothing's going to happen. And one time you're going to click it and it's going to go off and a bullet's going to come out. And somebody's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So
Uh-huh. Exactly. That's what makes it exciting.
how can that make it exciting knowing that somebody is probably going to die if you play the game all the way through?
I can't explain it to you, but there's some people that get their jollies off of risque stuff like that. I was at, okay, this was years ago. I was in my 20s, and I was at this party, and they were playing this game where they would take this knife, a butcher's knife, and they typically put their hands on a table with their fingers spread out and do all around their fingers and stuff.
Right, right,
Now, eventually, one of the guys jabbed it right to their finger,
right,
and they were drunk, okay, being and stuff, and I just was looking
right.
like, what the hell? To me, as a person that's not into all that craziness, I'd be like, what the heck? But it's some people, why you have there's sexual stuff that people do that goes above and beyond, you know, choking and stuff to get a, I mean, I don't know. And she sounds like maybe from his story, she sounds like
Well,
maybe she was
I think the thing with this though,
bored
these are
and
police officers. I mean, like they've been trained
they're
in.
still human.
I understand that, but they seriously really know better than that.
Should. Should.
Yeah. All right. That well, from the get go, this case has really aggravated me. Um.
Mhm.
Okay. So what do we got next? Uh. We have baby Evelyn. And uh, okay, this is from the 12th. So we all know that they found her body and they were waiting for the positive ID to come back. The body of a child found in Tennessee last week has been identified as that of missing 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell, authorities said. We have a sad update to pass along in our ongoing search for answers in Evelyn's death, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said in a tweet. Remains found on Friday evening have been confirmed to be those of the little girl. Evelyn was reported missing last month, but she was last seen in December. Investigators have said they found her body after a trip led them to a property belonging to a family member of Evelyn's mother. Children's clothing, diapers, and toys were also found with the body, a TBI agent said Monday at a bond hearing for Megan Boswell, Evelyn's mother. Megan Boswell was arrested in February and has been charged with false reporting, according to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. Her bond was increased to $150,000 from $25,000 Monday after prosecutors spoke of Boswell's ties to other states and charges of false statements. Authorities say Boswell continually lied to them about the child's whereabouts during their Amber Alert investigation and changed her story every time she spoke to police. Boswell had sole custody of the child, officials have said. Evelyn's father is an active duty military serviceman stationed in Louisiana. Evelyn's grandmother, Angela Boswell, was also arrested along with her boyfriend while traveling in North Carolina days after the Amber Alert was issued. Authorities said they may have information about Evelyn's disappearance. They have been charged with possession of stolen property and extradited to Tennessee. Angela Boswell appeared in court last week on the theft charge. The judge reset the case to March 24th after Angela Boswell said she was having trouble finding an attorney because of the stigma around the case. Authorities have not released the cause of Evelyn's death. The investigation into her death is ongoing.
So sad.
It is.
Sad, sad, sad.
I agree.
Sad, sad. I think she knew exactly. She knew that her daughter was already dead. That's why she reported her. She knew she was dead. I don't think she killed her, but she knew she was dead. Beautiful little girl. Oh my gosh. I saw home videos of her. Beautiful girl. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think she knew. She knew exactly where she was. She knew.
I
don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a little early for me to really have any kind of good formed opinion on what I think happened. I do think that obviously it was something happened and it was within the family. It wasn't like it was, anything else because they found her on family property. I don't know who exactly is responsible. I'm sure that's part of the reason why they're not releasing her cause of death because, of their investigation into finding out who caused her death. I'm getting very sick of the things that people are doing to these little kids. I mean, they're so innocent and couldn't possibly be doing anything to warrant what is happening to them.
Not at all. She was just a baby. But I think that she left her in her care. And honestly, all her interviews, have you seen her interviews where she's smiling the whole time,
right?
And stuff. The mother, she knew exactly because she knew. She had to have known that something happened to her and stuff, and she's just going on with her life. I mean, I don't understand. She was so beautiful.
Yeah. I don't understand how you don't report your child missing when you hadn't seen them since December. I mean, I'm sorry, but you would have some sort of communication.
Right. She didn't report missing because she knew what happened to her. She knew exactly what happened to her and stuff, and maybe the mother told her not to say anything, This is, I don't know. We don't even know. They could have been, maybe they're in some kind of, I know they're some kind of gypsies or something. Maybe they're in some kind of cult and stuff. Maybe the baby was a sacrifice. I don't know and stuff. And then
maybe it was an accident.
Not supposed to say anything.
And maybe it was an accident. And if it was an accident, they should have just, called 911. And people do some crazy things. They just really do. I don't know. This is very sad, but I'm sure that the Bryan clan, hello, I'm listening, still 3/4 asleep. That's okay. No worries. My camera is still not set up the way I want it, but my husband slept in this morning, so I have to wait for him to flip these arms around on my holder that I got. All right, so
find out
now I'm sure there's going to be more discussions on baby Evelyn because, obviously they're gonna come out and hopefully tell us who who did this when their investigation is over. But now,
Sure.
oops, that's wrong. Now we are going to, our favorite person here lately, Lori Vallow Daybell. Casbat has a lovely nickname for her. I find mildly amusing. So we have an article from yesterday evening, so I would say that's pretty up to date, which I thought was kind of interesting. Judge agrees to remove himself from Idaho mom's missing kids case. Rexburg, Ohio, a judge has agreed to recuse himself from the criminal case for Lori Vallow Daybell, the Idaho mother whose 2 missing children were last seen in September. Judge Farron Edens said Friday he would err on the side of the defendant's rights. In Idaho, a person has a right to disqualify a judge without reason, without cause, and just because, at least once in a case, he said during a Friday hearing. Attorney for Daybell, who appears in some court documents under the name Lori Vallow, but asked in a recent hearing to be identified by her new married name, Daybell, argued in court filings that Edens presided over her separate civil child custody case that predated the criminal charges. They said his involvement in the earlier case creates a conflict or bias that could infringe on her right to a fair trial. Daybell's children have not been found. Her 7-year-old son, Joshua J.J. Vallow, was last seen September 23rd, and his big sister, 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, was last seen September 8th, the same day the family went on a day trip through Yellowstone National Park. That jumper is so flattering. I know, that's why I like using this picture, because, she's all made up in her prison garb.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Right, I know. Edens reduced Daybell's bond last week from $5 million to $1 million, noting she had not indicated where her kids are, despite a court order in the civil proceedings. Daybell, 46, remains jailed in the Madison County Jail and did not attend the hearing. East Idaho News reported. One of her defense attorneys participated by phone. She was arrested in Hawaii last month, where authorities say she and her husband, Chad Daybell, traveled after police sought to question her. Authorities in Rexburg have said they strongly believe that Joshua and Tylee's lives are in danger and allege the Daybells have lied several times about the children's whereabouts. Lori Daybell's attorney, Edwina Elcox, has previously said her client is dedicated to vigorously defending against these allegations and has suggested prosecutors filed charges in reaction to news media attention surrounding the case. The case spans several states and includes investigations into rumors of Lori and Chad Daybell's apocalyptic religious beliefs and the mysterious deaths of their former spouses, as well as brother of hers. Lori Daybell is charged with 2 felony counts of child desertion, plus 3 misdemeanor counts of obstruction, solicitation, and contempt after authorities say she gave police false information and directed another person to do the same. A 2-day preliminary hearing that was originally scheduled for next week has been postponed until May 7th and 8th, after both parties agreed to the change. A new judge was not immediately assigned Friday. So what do you think about that? And the Bryan clan said, and she takes time to do her hair and red lipstick. That smirk. I know. Like, your friggin' kids are missing. You won't tell anybody where your kids are. You won't tell the court who has ordered you to show your kids, just to show them that they're okay. And you're sitting there with that smug grin, like, ha, I'm almighty. I can do whatever I want.
She's a little off, I think. Okay, and the hair.
A little.
I heard how she curled her hair.
Oh,
I heard how she curled her hair in prison.
Is it appropriate for discussion?
Yeah. After, you know how after you finish the toilet paper, there's the little roll.
Oh yeah.
She rolled her hair with the toilet paper rolls, which is kind of clever, if you have to admit, and stuff. I would even look your best at all times, but the lipstick was a little much. But uh, but I don't understand why they can't get these people. I know it's against the law, whatever. Get them in a room and beat the crap out of them and say, "Where are your children? You're not getting out of jail until you tell us where the kids are." Hello. I mean, I don't even know how they have a trial. They're in a trial.
Okay.
What are we trying? What?
Let me.
Her lies.
Let me see if I can.
Boy, I just don't understand. We need to get a better system here to get these to get the truth out of these people. Time is a wasted. Of course, they might already had
okay, so you want to see another smug look on her face? Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on.
She's crazy. She's absolutely crazy. Maybe a psychiatrist could talk to her and get something out of her.
Look at this.
Ooh, you know what they could do?
Look at this picture.
They can hypnotize her.
Like, look at this picture. Look at her face. Like, look at that look on her flipping face. And I closed out one of the articles I need, unfortunately.
Too much makeup. Who's giving her the makeup? Why do the drugs and like she get makeup?
I'm sorry, but I don't think I would look that happy if I was in as much doo-doo as she is.
But in her mind, she probably isn't. If she thinks she's a god,
right.
She's untouchable. Don't you get it?
The new Mrs. America. Oh God, the Bryan clan.
Miss
like, you're not kidding.
USA. Miss Prison.
Miss Prison USA.
Miss Prison USA. There it is.
But you know what?
Hypnotize her and get the answers.
You know what's weird? Like okay, so you imagine you wipe off all the makeup off her face, right? And her nice curls in her hair. And she kind of looks worn. She looks like a worn person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's not that old either, I don't think.
I didn't think so either.
She's 40s.
Yeah, she's probably around our age.
Well, she has a grown son. Her son's married and has a child, so.
I just can't get over, like, I don't know. I don't know which is worse. This face or this face. Like, she's actually smiling there, but she's kind of smiling almost just as much in this other one. Like, I don't know. And I have to be honest, I feel bad for her attorney because I don't know. I'd be standing there instead of wanting to defend her. I'd be wanting to punch her out and say, tell them where the hell your kids are. Jesus.
Unless she's crazy. I mean, if she obviously is not.
She obviously is not in her right mind. I mean, she won't tell anybody where her kids are. So I've never heard of such craziness. I've heard of people doing a lot of things to their kids, but I've never heard of them being under court order to provide their kids in front of the court just to show that they're still, alive, really, and like nothing. And there's no emotion out of her. There's no I don't know what happened to my kids or anything. Nothing. I mean, even people who have murdered their kids usually sit there and lie to the media and everything and say, I don't know, somebody please bring my kids. I mean, I don't even get this woman.
I have no inclination. I don't think that if she thinks that according to her ex-husband's stuff on his on the divorce records, he put on there while he was divorcing her because she said that she was a god and she was in charge of bringing in the second coming and that he stood in her way, she was going to kill him. So, and well, he did end up.
Well, shoot, if my spouse told me he was going to kill me, I would absolutely say sayonara to you also.
Right. So she's not right. She's not in her right mind.
Oh, obviously. Exactly.
So If that look on in court is any indication, she's not right in her mind. I don't know. Think she might not be fit to stand trial because she's not right in the mind. I mean, what are they trying her on? Her kid's missing and not knowing what happened to them, where they're at. I mean, what are
Right.
we trying
So
her on?
so that well, her big charges are child abandonment. Her abandoning her children. I mean, they can't really. They have to assume something along those lines because she can't produce them. She doesn't. She says she doesn't know where they're at, right? Or she refuses to let them know where she's at. So they're not with her, so they can get her for abandonment. I mean, I hope they figure out what the hell has happened to them. I hope to God she did something stupid, like she just sold them to somebody who's, like needed kids or wanted kids or whatever, and they're okay. But Jesus, like,
I don't know.
this whole thing scares me because she's such a lunatic. It is very possible she did something very evil.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But what? I don't know. I mean, I think. I don't know. I mean, I've heard of child sacrifices, but they're usually children, little babies and
Right,
stuff,
right,
not this
right,
age.
right. Like most Satanist stuff that they do, it usually has to be babies, infants. So I don't want to forget to do this, and unfortunately I have to because, people don't think to do this. But if everybody could please hit the thumbs up, I would really appreciate it because it helps push our stuff out there so we have more people to talk with. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. And, share it out. If you can share it out with anybody who's interested in the kind of content we bring, it would be great. Yeah, I don't know. I would just like to smack her head right off her shoulders, just the looks on her face. Okay, so I'm sure there will be more stories. She will make sure that she stays in the headlines before May on her next court times because, she she slipped her cuffs last week. We were talking about her slipping her cuffs, so there's no telling what she might do next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so last week we started talking about this case that we were following. The trial was going on, and they came back with a verdict. So I want to read this. This is from their local paper. Jury fails to reach verdict on Thomas murder charge. Ottumwa, after 14 hours of deliberation, jurors were unable to reach a verdict on whether Kelsie Thomas was guilty of first-degree murder in the death of her daughter, Chloe Chandler. Jurors acquitted her of child endangerment. I apologize for the dogs playing. Oh my goodness. She's going to tear up my chair. Thomas's trial began last week, and jurors received the case on Tuesday. Judge Lucy Gammon accepted the jury's verdict on the child endangerment charge, but the defense was not happy about the failure to reach a verdict on the murder charge. Defense attorney Alan Cook said he thought jurors should have been instructed to keep working. The defense realizes that the jury has put in a lot of time and effort into their deliberations, Cook said, considering they are unanimous in finding not guilty on count 2, but we are way too close to count 1 to agree to dismiss this jury on the basis of mistrial. They're playing with a toy. Thomas was charged in 2018 after her daughter died of strangulation. She told investigators she found Chloe hanging in a closet in the family's home. Authorities did not believe it was an accident. The dispute was the focus for much of the trial. The defense told jurors the investigators focused on Thomas and manipulated her into a confession. Prosecutors said her accounts were inconsistent from the start. Mistrials and acquittals are different. Prosecutors cannot refile charges after someone is acquitted, so the child endangerment charge is resolved. That is not true of the murder charge, which prosecutors can retry at a later date. Okay, so I have a couple of issues. So I had an issue while we were listening to the trial in that the audio from and they didn't let us listen to all of the audio of all of the interviews that happened, and I know one of them was like over 3 hours long. Or one of them was over 14 hours, I think, something like that. So the audio was so bad, even with my earbuds in my ear turned way up to where I felt like the sound was going to drive me insane, the crackling sound and everything. I could not make out most of what she was saying. The things that I did gather from listening, I mean, I would love to be able to read the transcripts, and if I can get a hold of them, I'm going to see if I can to read them, because it seems to me that regardless of whether they feel that she that the police coerced this confession out of her, I heard her say things uncoerced that made me question her story. So, and then when you look at, I honestly, I thought that the things that the medical examiner testified to made sense to me. If what she said about, and you know, you kind of have to go with these people on what they see, and what, you know, one of the things that they tried to discredit her with on the defense side when they brought in their person, their doctor, right, to refute what she was saying. The thing that bothered me, one thing was the fact that obviously he did not look at the body. She did. He was going by reports and pictures, not actual hands-on experience, right? And he kept saying that she was guessing and all this kind of stuff, and imagining, and that's not exactly the way that she put it forth. What I got from her was she was basing her decision on everything that she's learned, you know, in her schooling, but also the strangulation and hanging cases that she has seen in her own career, right? And he kept saying, well, she's wrong because that's no, but if she's saying most of the time in her career, this is what I've seen. Most of the time in my career, this is, and that's what she was saying. And he's trying to refute that, but he can't really refute that because he hasn't had her exact cases that she's had in her career, you know, done the autopsies on those same bodies, right? So I found that to be a bone of contention with me, that was just purely on his part manipulated to put doubt in the jurors' minds where there shouldn't have been doubt, because if you really think about what he was saying and what she was saying, like, he was taking it out of context, right? I also have a serious problem with the fact that they found vomit a very small amount of vomit in the bed, and they found none in the closet. That is a huge stickler for me in believing the mom's story, because she said she
Mm-hmm.
had seen that she had vomited, right? And the way that she said that in one of the recordings that I did hear part of what she was saying, it sounded to me like she had seen that she had vomited while she was hanging in the closet. Well, that can't really be true when they didn't find any in there. I mean, people when they hang to death, right? Like they used to put people to death by hangings, right? And your head goes forward. So anything, if she was vomiting or even a little bit, something would have gotten on the carpet in the closet. I have a really tough time with that one.
How's it even going to come out though? Like I said earlier or yesterday, if it's around your neck, you think it get lodged in your throat. It wouldn't come out
No,
of your mouth.
that would only be if you were, think about, okay, think about people who have seizures, right? So people who have
Mm-hmm. Right.
seizures, they can vomit and choke on it. The reason is because typically they're laying on their back and they're flailing around, right? So what you have to do is you have
Mm-hmm.
to turn them on their side so that that can come out. If you're hanging, your head is not leaning back in such a way that you're choking on it. Now, if you're struggling, you're still not going to yank your head that far back, because it's just because of the weight proportion and what happened. I mean, if you have, unfortunately, like I've watched a lot of these shows where they showed how they hang people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
their head always goes forward. Now, there are certain situations where, like, if they didn't measure right and the weight and everything, but, this was a child, so, her neck wasn't broken, so that wasn't part of the issue. Um, she wasn't like, riding a horse and got, caught in something. Those kinds of injuries are very different than just like a normal hanging. Um, I have a hard time believing that they wouldn't have found something in the closet or more on her clothes that she had on. I just, or even if she was hanging by the pajama pants, they would have found something on them.
Mm-hmm.
It just, that in and of itself, because that is serious, like that is tangible evidence. I have a really hard time with that. I know
Okay.
you
So
kind of
anyway,
have a bit of a different opinion on that, but that's the hang up for me. And so I am not surprised that they didn't come to an agreement on the murder charge. Uh, because I think to come to the conclusion that I did takes, I guess, maybe some extra knowledge than most people would have of certain things, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
I know about people with seizures because I've been around people who have seizures. I, have been present when people have seizures. So, that's a good example of what happens, that people can choke on their own vomit, right? Because they can't control where they're moving. Um,
Mm.
I happen to have watched a lot of historical shows and, historical slash, crime shows where they have shown, hangings, pictures of hangings, um, reenactments of hangings, digital format of, how hangings occur and what happens to the body. So maybe my uh, conclusion seems logical to me, but a normal person who hasn't seen any of that, they wouldn't be able to come to that conclusion based on what they saw in this case. What gets me though is
So,
the child endangerment. She's so. I really feel like after she was saying how um, she left her home by herself. Okay, like the police didn't feed her that, right? So whether that happened that day or not, the way that she said that to me, like that was probably something she was doing because she was having problems taking her out to the stores. And I mean, we know that there's lots of people that have done that, you know, and gone to jail. They leave them in their cars, they leave them in their house, you know. I have a hard time that they didn't how they didn't find her guilty on that, I don't know. Of course, the fact that they didn't find
I
her
think
guilty on that would definitely lead you to believe that they were either going to mistrial or find her innocent of the other charge.
I think it's because maybe didn't she say that she went when she got home that she greeted her at the door that she was alive when she got back home though even if she left her home by herself she was still alive when she got back home so she
But that's
didn't
still
die while
child
she was not
endangerment.
there.
That's still child
Yeah,
endangerment. You can't leave your little kid at home by themselves.
right.
Like you can't do
Well, I
that.
mean we were left home when we were little, but yeah, it was a different
Not that
world. Years
little.
ago it
I
wasn't
mean, I
that
was
big of
left
a.
home to watch my sister, but
I was
not
pretty
that
young.
little. I wasn't that little. I,
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I
I
don't know
was.
how little you
We were
were,
pretty young.
but I don't think I was any younger
I
than
wasn't alone.
9. I don't think I was any younger than
I was with
9,
my
and
older
even at
brother.
well, see, I was oldest, but I mean, I can remember I came home from either a Girl Scout trip or something. They dropped me off at the house, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was I assume it was 9 o'clock. I don't know. It was dark. You know, I'm a kid, so your sense of time is never, you know, exactly spot on. But my dad was at work, and I don't remember where my mom, my sister were. They were out at something, I guess. And I literally like I had never been home by myself that time of night, and I called my dad. He worked he was at work, and I called him, and he just stayed on the phone with me until my mom, my sister got home, and it was all good. So like if something would have happened, he would have known. But even then, I wasn't that young as that little kid. you know you, you just can't leave a kid that, and that absolutely would be a child endangerment charge, even if there had been no death that occurred you know
How can you be How can you be not guilty of child endangerment and guilty of murder? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, right, because if you're
if
committing
you
violence against the child, you're endangering that. That's the part I don't understand. I am more surprised that they did not find her guilty on the child
weird,
endangerment than if they'd have found her innocent of the murder, because I don't understand how they came to
right?
that conclusion.
Yeah, they should have just gone with innocent then for the first charge too. I mean, if you're gonna do the second one as not guilty, because you can't kill your kid
Unless
and not put them in danger
unless
unless
unless there were I well, okay, as somebody who has been on a jury, and and I actually was foreman of a jury, I do understand how you cannot be in agreement, have to come to a unanimous verdict, right? And you have like one holdout.
hmm
I could see where you could get one holdout to go innocent on the child endangerment, because it's not a it's not really a huge charge. It's not going to put her away for life, or you know what I mean. Um, However, they would not rescind holding out on the murder. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess I could see if it was like one or two. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how the division went on the murder charge, but if they had like a 10 people innocent and 2 people guilty, right? And they had the same split on the child endangerment charge, I could see how those two people would go, okay, well, we'll give you the child endangerment charge, but we're not giving you the murder charge, right? I wouldn't do that myself, but I could see how that happens. Because that child endangerment charge is not going to make or break anything. I mean, she's probably just going to get probation on that anyway if she doesn't have any, history of, and I don't know her, if she has any history of, problems with law enforcement or anything. But I was, and won't it be crazy if they retry her and a jury finds her guilty and then she was found innocent of the child endangerment because yet she didn't endanger the child, but she killed the child. That would be really, really odd.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'm not
retry her then.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a terribly long case. I can't imagine it was, it wasn't the most expensive case they've ever done. So it's very possible that, unless the vote was very much toward innocent, they might decide not to. They might not want to risk, maybe they'll wait and see if they can't get more evidence. I don't know. Or better, I don't know. I thought they put on a fairly good case. The problem is it's a lot of, she said, she said,
Yeah, her husband said that she was a good mom. I know the cousin was up there.
Okay, but if she's leaving her kid home like that, that's not a good mom. And, the phone call between her and him from the jail that they used in court, I had a hard time understanding that one too. But, she was kind of...
She didn't mean it.
Right. She was like crazy, like defensive and angry and screaming at him. And I thought, wow. Like for somebody who's saying, oh, I didn't do it, I found her that way, like she was going off on him. And I thought, well, this is kind of icing on the cake.
Well, I think he said that she was mad that he hadn't been home yet because she goes to work and he was out detailing that car and that she left him a really
okay, but
nasty
you and
message,
I both know,
why aren't you home yet?
You and I both know. Okay, so she's like, I have to have a 2-hour nap before I go to work, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but we know how kids totally don't let you sleep and you suck that shit up. That's part of being a parent.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah, right. I also know that from experience from growing up that sometimes if your parents are mad sometimes the parents are mad at the spouse and they take it out on the kids. It happens. It happens. You lash out on the first person that's next to you and stuff. And
or they do something very minor and you blow it out of proportion.
Right. They do something
because you're already aggravated.
You're freak,
right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a lot of experience with that growing up. So, and my mom even admitted that she said that, sometimes I'd be mad at your dad and I would take it out on you. And I think we all do it to a certain extent. If we're mad at one person, then
and you don't do it on purpose, and then maybe you go back and it's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I kind of a little bit overreacted there. I shouldn't have, yelled so much.
Sorry, I wasn't mad at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
or you're tired. Tired gets me. And that's why sometimes I'll start yelling at my kids and stuff, and it's like and then I'll apologize. I'll go, I'm sorry, I'm just tired. This is what you're getting. You're getting tired. You're tired. This tired mom right now, and you guys know the tired mom is not so pretty.
Yeah, right.
So
a tired mom is not the best mom in the world.
No, not at all. But we have to keep going.
Yeah, so I guess if we hear anything on this, any more on this one, or if they decide to retry, we will definitely have another discussion. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is going to be brief. I will try to make a video on this because somebody actually requested me to look into this. So this Karlie Lane, I guess Gusey, I don't know. But I'm going to read this article from October of last year. Bishop, California. It's a tragic fact that children go missing every day somewhere in this country. When it happens in a small community, the impact is greater as it touches everyone. For the past year, even those passing through Bishop, California were reminded of the disappearance of Karlie Guse. I don't know how to say that name. Signs, posters, and ribbons are everywhere. At the high school, the girl everyone describes as fun-loving and outgoing is still an everyday visible and emotional presence. At the beginning of every football game, the announcer still reminds those present to keep her in their thoughts and prayers. And of course, there are no words adequate to describe the impact on those closest to her. Their pain was on full display at a press conference held Friday, October 11th, 2019, near her home in Chalfant, a tiny community north of Bishop. Speaking through sobs, her mother, Lindsay Fairley, pleaded for her safe return. I love you, sweet pea. Please come home. We love you, Karlie. The known facts about her disappearance haven't changed much in a year. She apparently left her home in this rural neighborhood a dozen miles north of Bishop early in the morning after hanging out with friends, apparently smoking marijuana. Whatever happened to her that night, her stepmother says it had a marked effect on her behavior, leaving her alternately fearful and animated. The next morning, a pair of neighbors who saw her said she seemed disoriented and lightly dressed for the weather as she walked down to Highway 6. A passing driver saw her at an intersection, and that's where Karlie Guse was last seen, where the mystery begins. Did she turn north or south toward Bishop, or was she picked up here? Was she abducted? 1 year later, those questions are without answers, but hope remains. The search continues. Someone somewhere knows what happened to Karlie, says Mono County Sheriff Ingrid Braun. If we could find that one person that can share that information and break this case for us, that's what we want. Meanwhile, her father, Zach Guse, said at the press conference, her family, friends, and a whole community waits. Please come home to where you are loved, not only by me and your family and friends, but by an entire community that wants to see you come home safely. Okay, so according to this FBI poster, October 13th, 2018, I guess is when she went missing. Date of birth, May 13th of 2002. Her eyes are blue. Her weight is 110 pounds at the time of disappearance. She is white, has dark blonde hair. She is 5'7", and that was at the time of the disappearance. She is female, and she has her left nostril pierced. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information that leads to the location of Karlie. The details they have on this flyer says Karlie Lane Guse, a then 16-year-old female, was reported missing by her family on the morning of October 13th, 2018. Karlie was seen by her family at their residence in the White Mountain Estates area of Chalfant Valley in Mono County, California, during the pre-dawn hours of October 13th, 2018. At some time during the early morning, Karlie left the family residence while likely wearing gray sweatpants or jeans, a white t-shirt, and Vans brand shoes. Karlie left her personal belongings behind at the residence, including her mobile phone. Karlie was last seen by witnesses walking south approximately 30 yards east of Highway 6 and 100 yards south of Sierra View Road on the morning of October 13th, 2018. A thorough search of the area and subsequent investigation has been unsuccessful in locating Karlie, and she has not been in contact with family or friends since she went missing. The Mono County Sheriff's Office and the FBI continue to seek information that will assist in locating Karlie. If you have any information concerning the disappearance of Karlie Guse, you are encouraged to contact the Mono County Sheriff's Office by emailing them at karliegusetips@monosheriff.org or calling them at 760-923-5678. You may also contact the Sacramento office of the FBI by calling 916-746-7000, your local FBI office, the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. All tips can remain anonymous. The Bryan clan says, so sad these kids disappearing. It really is. And the thing is, this day and age, how in the world can, they go so long and you don't find them? That's the part that kills me.
Hello?
So I didn't get to do a lot of digging into this case. I will do some more digging, and I am going to try to do a video on it. I'm sure that there's new stuff that I can watch. I actually came across my note. I think we lost Maria. I came across my note this morning and looked it up so that we could get it in here and get it out. I know if I make a video just on this, it'll be easier to just share this one thing out and get more information on it. You okay? Did you accidentally hang up?
No,
Hello?
I got a phone call and hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got a phone call and then I declined the phone call and all of a sudden I couldn't hear anything anymore. Yeah, I do, but I couldn't hear you. So I got out and came back in.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not an advocate for loss of privacy, but something has to change. I agree. I think that, well, obviously she doesn't have her phone, but I think one of the ways that I think hinders the police is the red tape they have to go through to try to track somebody's phone. Now, obviously, in some places, it's not as bad as others, but I think they need to, across the board, I think they need to clear that up. If you're reporting a missing person, they should be able to quickly ping their phone to see if they can find a location of their phone. Maybe install chips. Yeah, something. I have a feeling with everything that's going on right now in the world, I have a feeling there are changes coming, and maybe some of these changes might help in some of this. I hope that, because it's not like you're trying to track down an adult who it's okay for them to run away from their current life. If you're looking for a child, the police should have every resource available immediately to try to track and find that kid. Because it's not okay for kids to run away. They're not safe if they do that.
Right.
So, unfortunately, we have to end on a sad case, but maybe if people can spread word, and I have to do my Jane Doe video, but I will try to do if only a short video on this, just so it's standalone and can be sent out and shared on social media. Be fine. And did you have any? Yes, 2018, October 13th.
Ugh.
And she was 16 then. So technically October 13th of this year, she'll be an adult. She'll be 18. All right, well, unless Eminem Mama, you just made it. Oh my gosh, you have to rewind because we're fixing to end this sucker. Uh, anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming. Maria, as always, I want to thank you for being my guest here to bounce ideas off of
Sure,
and
thank you.
give us your opinion. And thank you to everybody who came. If you could please hit the thumbs up on the way out, I would appreciate it. And for anybody watching this on the replay, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications when YouTube deems it fit to send them out to see more of this kind of content. We try to do these true crime discussions of cases every Saturday morning. And if you could also share this out anywhere you think people might be interested in our content. Other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And I will catch you all next time. Everybody quit hoarding all the toilet paper. Save some for everybody else.
Please.
And
Please.
we will catch you next time. Thank you and God bless.
God bless.